but now we're going to add the vestibular system. And I want you to move in your chair. If you're at the aisle, feel free to stand up and do some dancing. We're gonna move when the Spirit says move. We're gonna move when the Spirit says move. We're gonna move when the Spirit says move. And obey the Spirit of the Lord. Last time I'm gonna sing.
The definition of recreational music making came from a partner, the late Carl T. Brune, who was the father of the music products industry, and Carl basically defined recreational music making as enjoyable, accessible, and fulfilling group music-based activities that unite people of all ages, regardless of their background, experience, challenges, ethnicity, whatever. But the point was anybody could do it. And accessible means that whether there's a handicap or not, people can engage in music. We've actually done drum circles with people who have been almost completely paralyzed, who may have had a little movement of one ankle, and we could put a bell with Velcro on that ankle and the person could participate.
Music therapists are not the only ones who make music in a way that is healing. A lot of music is therapeutic. Recreational music certainly is. There are wonderful musicians who volunteer their efforts to come into hospitals and play. The music therapist has this specialized training in the clinical applications of music interventions.
The average person has been led to believe that they can't carry a tune in a bucket, that they should sing far, far away, and that they're not musical. I think it goes back to the 3rd grade. When I was a kid, we had these cute little devices that we used to call flutophones. They now call them recorders. And they're these white plastic instruments with a little bit of red trim on them. And anybody know what the determinant of musicality was in the 3rd grade? What was it? If you could make it not screech.
One of the keys to music therapy is the therapeutic relationship. So we are working with the music to engage the clients. We are using the healing properties of music, and we are basing our work on this wonderful research, but we're doing it in the context of the relationship. And as we look at some of the research results from the most recent journals that we're going to look at, I think you'll see where it is the impact of the therapist that is making the difference in the music therapy.
What we did is we took this group of drums, we put it inside of a circle of people sitting for a support group. I'll never forget it. This little old guy walks over, grabs a drum, starts banging on it. Before you know it, someone else picks up a drum. And within a couple of minutes, everybody in the group is drumming, laughing, smiling. The oxygen masks are falling off. I mean, they seem to be really doing well.
So I'd like to just do a real quick demonstration of what TIMP might look like, therapeutic instrumental music performance. But I'd like a couple of volunteers from the audience. Would anybody be willing to come up stage and pretend to be a stroke or a Parkinson's patient? All right, here we go. Shoulder, drop, shoulder, drop, shoulder, drop. I've been working on the railroad all the little day. I've been working on the railroad just to take some time away. Maybe you can flow and rise up so early in the morning. Maybe you got So playing the drum, and what we do as the music therapist is set the drum in the place where we know that they're going to be working the muscles that we want to isolate that they're doing. In regular OT, where they're just holding a weight and doing this, I'm going to put the weight on the patient's wrist, and he's going to be playing the drum and having fun.
I'm what we call a laryngologist, which is an ENT, so I trained in otolaryngology, which is a hard word to say, and head and neck surgery. And then I did a fellowship in laryngology. There are about 100 to 150 fellowship-trained laryngologists in the country, so we're not a a huge bunch. And what we do is concentrate on voice, swallowing, and airway disorders. So I used to do a lot of head and neck cancer surgery, but now our practice is pretty busy. So I do that, and I do research into how the voice works. And one of the things I say about the larynx is that it's the least understood of any organ we have in the body.
What we were able to do is, in 2005, publish the first paper on the planet that showed, for the very first time, that you could actually modulate the human genome response in the context of inducing and subsequently reversing the stress. And basically, the experiment was quite straightforward, because in the group that continued the puzzle, the genes that got turned on stayed on. In the group that rested, read magazines, spoke to each other, 6 of the 47 genes reversed or shut off. And in the group that actually performed the recreational music making in the form of the Clavinova connection, 19 genes reversed. So the first study that actually showed that playing a musical instrument in the context of a recreational music making protocol was 3 times more effective on the DNA level than what we do to simply relax.
Both aging and Parkinson's, there are a lot of people in the community, at least when I got here, thought these are problems that can't be solved. You get an old person's voice, or Parkinson's, if therapy doesn't work, there's nothing else to do. That's not true now. Thanks to people's work all across the nation, we can help a lot of those people. So
what we were able to discover is a 48% reduction in total mood disturbance 6 weeks into the program, meaning at the completion of the 6 sessions. What was really interesting, however, is that 6 weeks later, after the people had not drummed, that total mood disturbance actually was reduced further to 62% reduction. Now you're probably saying to yourself, they did pretty good with the activity. Why did they do better when we stopped? Now some of you are saying they were glad to get rid of us, so their mood improved. Actually, that's not the case. What we did with the group is we built in context, meaning we just don't do this as an isolated phenomena. And the context here was rather interesting. It was based on what we call, some people refer to as a 4-letter word, but we call it homework. So the insights that were derived from the group were then taken back to the workplace. They became part of the culture. And through this group drumming process, we were able to change the culture of the organization. What was kind of neat is the actual savings for the group at that time, as calculated and predicted by a group, and that group is Tripp Umbach Healthcare, one of the leading healthcare consultancies, was basically $400,000.
Stand up, clap your hands, stomp your feet, turn around, turn around, turn around, and sit down. Stand up, sit down.
So what does creative musical expression really do? It enables us to move beyond or resolve our inner conflicts. It helps us to express the seemingly inexpressible. It helps us to make sense of the inexplicable. It allows us to self-reflect in a way that gets a better look at ourselves. And when you do it in a group process, it enables us to be appreciated for who we are. And that level of goodness in mankind comes out best in this context.